Good day! So for today's video, I will discuss the topic about the flow-through raceway. So raceways, also known as flow-through system, is an artificial channel used in aquaculture to culture organisms. Raceway system among the earliest methods used for island aquaculture. A raceway usually consists of rectangular basins and canals constructed of concrete and equipped with an inlet and outlet. A continuous water flow through is maintained to provide the required level of water quality, which allows animals to be cultured at higher densities within the raceway. So ang raceway ay kilala rin bilang flow-through system, at ito ay kabilang sa isa sa pinakaunang pamamaraan na ginamit para sa island aquaculture.
And there have 4 example picture of flow-through raceway. And these are another example of raceways at a West Virginia fish hatchery. Then the last picture is another example of flow-through raceway system in Masis, Armenia. Freshwater species such as trout, catfish, and tilapia are commonly cultured in raceway. Raceway are also used for some marine species which need a constant water flow such as juvenile salmon, water sea bass, and sea bream, and marine invertebrates such as abalone. The most important factor to consider when selecting a site for a raceway farm is the water supply. Water source for raceway aquaculture operation are usually streams, springs, reservoir, or deep wells. Trout do best in spring water because it keeps a constant temperature, while catfish need strong flow about 80 liters per second for every 0.4 hectares of raceway. A backup of water supply should be positioned so if the water supply or pump fails, it can flow by gravity into the start of the raceway. The size of raceway is a most often rectangular canal with a water current flowing from a supply end to exit end. The length to width ratio is important in raceway to prevent the fish struck from swimming in circular movement, which would cause debris to build up in the centre. A length to width ratio of at least 6:1 is recommended. If the width is too large, this could result in feeble current speed which is not desirable. The length of raceway unit is usually constrained by the water quality or by how much stock a unit can hold or ease of management. The average depth of raceway for fins such as rainbow trout is about 1 metre. How does flow-through system work? Fish culture in flow-through system is a type of intensive culture where the fish are stacked densely in a long and narrow pond or tank in which there is an abundant continuous water flow. The fish are stacked in pond or tank of the basis of the volume of inflowing water. In the feed, the most raceway aquaculture food needs to be supplied. The composition of the food and amount and time of feeding needs to be adjusted to the specific species. This can be optimize and reduce costs and minimize the amount of waste. Most raceway are made of reinforced concrete, though some earthen raceway are also built. Earthen raceway with plastic liners cost little and are easy to build, but cleaning and disinfecting them is difficult and plastic lining are fragile. Reinforced concrete is more expensive, but is durable and can be shaped in complex ways. Raceway tank can also be built from polyester resin. These tanks have smooth walls and are mobile and easy to service. The water flow rate is a raceway system needs to be sufficiently high to meet the respiratory dissolved oxygen requirements for the species concerned and to flush out metabolic waste, especially ammonia. In a well-designed system, the existing water in the raceway is largely replaced by new water when the same volume of new water enters the raceway. For example, if trout are stuck at 20 kilograms per cubic metre, they can keep raceway unit clean by their swimming movement, preventing waste solid from settling to the raceway floor. Waterways. The treatment of wastewater issuing from raceway farms is a major concern. Fish fecal matter and uneaten feed are typically the major element of solid waste produced in raceway aquaculture farms. This can adversely impact the environment in receiving water body because raceway aquaculture operation discharge large volume of water. The concentration of discharged solids is low. This means it is not easy to treat and implement practical, cost-effective treatments. Technologies for the removal solid include microscreen, dual drain tank, swirl separator, plate separators, baffles, media filters, air flotation, foam fractionation, chemical flocculation, and constructed wetlands. But because of the impracticality and or high cost of this method, most of them are not applicable for commercial aquaculture. Compared to funds, raceway are several advantages. Per unit of space, raceway production is much higher. Raceway also offer a much greater ability to observe the fish. This can make feeding more efficient and disease problems are easier to detect and earlier stage. If these signs are observed, disease or treatment in raceway are easier to apply and require fewer chemicals than similar number of fish in a pond due to the higher density in the raceway. Raceway also allow closer monitoring and growth and mortality, better inventory estimates than funds. Management inputs such as size, grading are much more practicable in raceway than they are in fund, and harvesting is also easier. The disadvantages of raceway are primarily related to their needs for large constant flow of consistent, high-quality waters, since such resources are not common. Locating and securing a proper water supply is a major consideration. Also, commercial viability often requires that the water gravity flows through a series of raceway before it releases. This adds a requirement for an elevation of the water source and suitable topography for the gravity flow between raceway. Another limitation compared to fund is release of effluent. While funds largely process waste within the culture system, raceway with their low retention times do not. Influent release from raceway are larger consideration than they are for funds. The concept of infant raceways. An infant raceway system or IFRS is an effective intensive aquaculture practice for regions with high water consumption and limited land resources. Water flow and dissolved oxygen or DO are important for sustainable aquaculture. A raceway in its simplest form is just a flume for carrying water. Raceway for fish culture are tanks which are relatively shallow and rely on high water flow in proportion to their volume in order to sustain aquatic life. Flow through fish culture system pass water through the system once, provide waste treatment as required, and then discharge the water rather than treating and recirculating it. For successful aquaculture, the inflowing water must be within the temperature tolerance of the species being cultured and should match the optimal temperature for the target species as closely as possible. In most raceway system, dissolved oxygen is replenished by allowing the water to fall into subsequent tank within the raceway. Flow through aquaculture system require water exchange to maintain suitable water quality for fish production and rely on water flow for the collection and removal of metabolic waste. Water for flow through facilities is usually diverted from streams, spring or artesian wells to flow through the farm of gravity. Water pumped from the wells or other source is more expensive and it is seldom used. Water diverted from springs or surface source for the flow through aquaculture is regulated by various public agencies depending on the specific law of each state. Flow-through systems are the most commonly used aquaculture production system for the culture of rainbow, trout, anchor haikus, mikes, and other salmonids in the United States. Other cold water fish species produced is flow-through system include brook trout salvelinus, fontinalis, and brown trout salmotruta. Flow-through systems are used for production of freshwater stage of salmon. Flow-through systems include linear earthen and concrete raceway and tank constructed from other material. Concrete raceway are the most common. Circular rearing tanks are also used in flow-through system, most commonly for broodstock production. Raceway aquaculture or a flow-through system uses a continuously running source of water is a profitable method of raising fish. Many farmers around the world have used this method where water is sourced from a stream or spring and made to flow continuously through man-made canals or channels into purpose-built ponds. In a raceway system, the water source is generally colder than lake or river water because it comes from streams or spring flowing downhill. This water usually comes from melted ice from mountain's peak. Moreover, the movement cools the water during transit and therefore a variety of cold water species are suited from this system. Some of the most common cold water raceway farm fish include the following: rainbow trout, freshwater shrimp, catfish, tilapia, juvenile salmon. Raceway structure and construction. Raceway fund and channels are designed in such a way that no water is stagnant at any time in the fish pond. If the water stops flowing, it collects dirt, debris, and feces, which may become toxic for the fish or may cause disease. A running water source maintains the water quality and oxygen level of the fish tank. Of course, choosing the location of the farm is essential in this system due to its dependence on running water. You can locate your farm across the water source or along a side to control the flow of water in the raceway. Artificial raceway system, a recirculating system with filtration and aeration system which add oxygen to the water, are needed when artificial flow of water is used. For example, some countries in Asia use mud, wood stones, or fiberglass to construct a raceway. Types of flow-through system. Flow-through system depend on an abundant and continuous flow of water. There are two types of flow-through system. Conventional flow-through system. In the conventional system, oxygen requirements of fish are supplied by the water flow. Intensive flow-through system. In an intensive system, an aerator is used to supply additional oxygen for the fish. Operation of a flow-through system. A semi-flow-through system allows low-tech, intensive farming of fish species like African catfish and tilapia. And a semi-flow-through, also known as raceway system, grow-out fish farm. The African catfish or tilapia is housed in tank only equipped with a water inlet from reliable water source like reservoir, river, lake, and water outlet to a wastewater discharge, for example, horticulture river. The fish tank are constructed of reinforced concrete or galvanized steel ring in which a liner is fitted, or, in case of tilapia, lined fish pond are used. All valves are operated manually. In a semi-flow-through system, the water in each tank is exchanged based upon visibility of water. If the waste load is higher, in larger fish being fed a higher feeding level, more water is exchanged per day. A semi-flow-through system is ideal in rural areas with limited access to electricity but with the availability of reliable water source like a river or lake.